So here are the items or the things that you need like to review for the test. You need like, of course, like to know the sum, the average, the minimum, and the maximum. How can I format numbers as currencies with or without decimal points? How can I format cells, the content of cells, so the orientation would change, for example, for the context, or I would add double lines. How would I conditionally format a set of cells so if they are above a certain threshold, I should highlight them with a certain color. How do I create charts out of specific numbers? So you select specific values and then create a chart, change the data set for the chart, change the labels, change the legend, write an if statement, use the PMT, the IPMT, create scenarios. And like when you are using the PMT, the IPMT, the if statement, you may want like also to, or you may need like to do the mixed and absolute references in order to copy formulas from specific cells to other set of cells. So that's basically what will be on the test. Is there a particular topic that you want me to cover before we go over the review, or do you want to see a previous test and I show and we go over it together? So Patrick says can't hear. Chris, can you hear me? Okay, so Patrick, it must be your speaker. Okay, now I want to know what would you prefer? Go over a sample exam, or do you want me to review the topics that are on the board? I'm waiting for you guys to decide. We need like to finish the review today. Okay, if you so review the topics or go over a review exam. Show you an actual exam and we go over it, or do you want me to go over each of these things and show you on a sheet, on an Excel sheet? I can show you a previous exam from a previous semester, from last semester. Okay, so let me upload that so everyone can see it and can follow through. Give me just like a couple of minutes and I will upload it to Blackboard. Go ahead and click under quizzes, and you should see two files under Excel, a sample Excel exam. So go ahead and download both files. There is a document and there is an Excel sheet. Were you all able to download it? They are under quizzes and exams, and they are titled Sample Excel Exam. So if you go now under quizzes and exams, and you scroll down, the third item is Sample Excel Exam. You need to download both of these files. So here is the Excel file and the Word document. So the first question asks you to save the file as exam2 underscore last name, to add a documentation sheet and enter your name in B3 and B4. So here is the sheet. I'm going to save it. exam2 underscore my last name. Then I'm going to add a documentation sheet, so I'll click on Insert Worksheet, and I will call it Documentation. And it asks you to put your name in B3. So even though I don't tell you to put a label, I expect you to put a label. It is, I mean, like part of learning how to organize a sheet. You know that you should have a label for each cell. And for the date, you have to use the date function. So it's equal to today. And as soon as I type the first three, it will actually suggest it for me. And I will just double click and hit enter. Now I have the name. So the 5 points is over the adding a documentation sheet and naming it documentation. Putting your name, of course, and the date, and most importantly, using a function, the today function. If you scroll up, you should be able to see the function, and then adding labels. So that part is not part that is not directly in the question, but again, part of the critical thinking that we are assessing is that you do what you, even if it's missing from the question, you do what is correct. So it doesn't ask you to add a label, but you're expected to add a label. Any questions regarding one? You are asked to change the background of the documentation sheet to light blue. And to change the background of cell B3, B4, and B5 to white, and add a double line border around B3, B4, and B5. So to change the color for the whole sheet, you need to select that sheet. And you need to go and change the fill color. So we can change it to blue. And then we are going to choose A3, B3, and B5 and change the fill to white. And then we need to add double borders. And I want to make sure that the line style is double. Okay, so you have the double border around all of them. Okay. Yeah, it is archived, Patrick. It is archived. Going back to the questions, it says, go to the amortization sheet, write an appropriate PMT function using mixed references in cell B6 to D6 to calculate monthly payment for loans in B3 to D3, calculate total payments made in cell B7 to D7, and this holds 10 points. Here is the amortization. As you can see, you have a loan amount of 300,000 or 500,000 or 750,000. So these are like the three scenarios or three options. An annual interest rate of 5, 5.5, 580, and number of months 360, which is 3 years, 300 less than 3 years, and 370, 3 years and 10 months. And you are asked to calculate what is my monthly payment, how much will I pay every month. So we know that to calculate the PMT, to calculate monthly payment, you use the PMT, so it is equal to PMT. And we open the parentheses, and the first thing it's asking me is the interest rate, and people think it is this 5%, the B4. Now, the B4 is an annual interest rate. And as I said in the lecture before, you need to change it to a monthly interest rate because you are calculating monthly payments. You cannot mix and match. If you are trying to calculate monthly payment, then the interest rate must be monthly too. So you have to change that annual to a monthly. So you divide by 12. Your second argument is the number of payments, and it's already in months, so you don't need to multiply by 12. If it gives you in years, then you would change the years to months. But if I have it already in months, I don't need to make changes. And I hope that this is clear to everyone, because no matter how much I stress this, students continue to do the same mistake. Okay, and the last thing is how much am I borrowing today, which is the present value that I'm getting. And since I am borrowing it, I'm going to start with a negative and then click on the amount. Before I hit enter, I need to make adjustment to the formula. The formula is saying that B4 is the annual interest rate. If I look at the different interest rates that I have in the table, I have them in B4, C4, and D4. What is common? And again, B4, C4, D4, what's common? I need one of you to answer me or to help me write the formula correctly. What is common between the cell addresses? B4, C4, D4. What is common? Are you guys listening? So what's common, Chris? Again, B4, C4, D4. What's common? No, it's the row 4. I said B, C, D. See the text that's written, B4, C4, D4. What's common is the row number 4. So in the formula, I'm going to fix the row and put a $sign before the 4. Same thing for the B5. The B5 is the month. They are in B5, C5, D5. So again, I'm going to fix the row 5. And the amount, the last thing, is in B3, D3, C3. So fix the row number 3. So now the formula says, okay, the PMT, take the annual interest rate in B4 and divide it by 12, take the number of months, and take the amount that I'm borrowing today. And these are in specific rows, so fix the rows. All of my annual interest rates appear on row number 4. All the amounts appear on row number 3. All the months or the number of payments appear on row number 5. That's why we fix these rows. And I get a payment for the first loan. And if I drag across, I get the payments for loans, the 500,000 and the 750,000. Now, the total payment would be how much you will pay per month, which is the B6, multiply by how many months will you pay that amount, the 360, and hit enter. So now you need again to say that all of your payments are in B6, so you'll fix the 6, and that all of your months are in B5, so you will fix the 5. And now you will drag across. So, and the reason you see the hashes is that there isn't enough space. So all you have to do is just like move your cursor to the top and then double click. Move the cursor to the top and double click. Any questions regarding the amortization? So what if I want to find out how much is interest out of the 1,610 that I pay for the first loan? Every month I'm going to pay 1,610. How do I find how much interest am I paying? What function would I use? It is the IPMT. The IPMT would tell you how much interest you are paying. But anyway, this is what you need to know to answer that question. Question number 4. So, and then it says number 5, go to the assignment sheet, calculate the weighted scores for 3 apartments using again mixed reference. We have done that in class before. We have done that assignment actually in class. So we said that when we do the weighted average, we have to come up with criteria. We give weight to the criteria. We score each of the alternatives on the criteria. And now we have to multiply the weight with the score. So for Grand Avenue, okay, this would be equal to the criteria multiplied by the score. And before I hit enter, I'm going to ask myself, where are the criteria? They are all in column number B. B8, B9, B10, B11, B12. So I need to fix the B. So I'm going to put a $sign before the B. My scores are in column C, E, and G. So I'm going to leave it without putting anything for C. I leave C because that's relative. Grand Avenue is in C, Metcalf is in E, and Sharon is in G. So yeah, they are in different columns. I'm not going to fix anything. And I hit enter. So now I can now copy it to the rest of the cells. And then again copy that formula to select all the ones that you want to copy and hit Control V. Whoever has the sound, please mute it. If you want to ask a question, I'm going to mute mine so that you can ask. So was there a question? Okay, so let's look again at the formula. If you scroll up your screen, you should be able to see the formula at the top. And it says $B8 multiplied by G8. We put the formula for before the B because all of my weights appear in column B. Rent, 35%. The location, 35%. Parking, 10%. Curb appeal, 10%. Traffic, 10%. They are all in column B. So that's why in the formula, I put $sign before the B. Do you all see the formula bar at the top? All you need to do is just like scroll up. Scroll the window for WIMBA up so you can see it. Okay, once I calculated the weighted scores for the 3 apartments, I want to sum it. So again, I'm going to click under Grand Avenue and sum, click on auto sum, and it will sum all of the numbers. And now I will copy it and paste it under Metcalf and Sharon. To copy, you hit Control C. To paste, it is Control V, like we said before. Okay, so here are my weighted averages for the 3 apartments. The next thing they ask you is to create a column chart. So let's just like look quickly at the question. So we are done with 5. 6 says create a column chart to compare the weighted scores for the 3 apartments. Title the chart Simon's 3 apartments. Now this is different from the assignment in the book, because in the book it said compare not the weighted scores but all of the scores. So and I'm going to show you quickly the difference. You can highlight the criteria, Grand Avenue, Metcalf, and Sharon, and hit Insert and Column Chart. And it will automatically compare the 3 for rent, location, curb, and traffic. But the question says, compare them on the weighted score only. So what you will do, I'm going to delete this one. Now you don't want to compare them. You want like to just like choose the weighted scores. And then click on Insert and Column Chart again. So now you have Grand Avenue, Metcalf, and Sharon compare. And it tells you that Grand Avenue is 2.8, Metcalf is 3.15, and Sharon is 3.4. Now, we need to change Series 1. We don't like the word Series 1. We want it to say weighted average or weighted scores. And you want to edit the select data and change the series name to weighted scores. They wanted the title to say Simon's 3 apartments. So instead of weighted scores here, you want to change it to Simon's 3 apartments. And again, you want to move it away from the ranking. Okay, any questions so far? Now they ask you to create a new scenario that changes the weight to the following values. So rent, instead of it being 35, we want it 10, 25, 20, 25, 20. So we are going to go back and we'll go under data and what if analysis and scenario manager. And I'm going to add a scenario. And the scenario would be, this is the initial or first scenario. Your changing cells are the weights. So you highlight the weights and you hit OK. And their values are what's in the sheet, 0.35, 0.35, 1, 1, and 1. So, and then we want to add a new scenario. That's the new scenario. So if it says add a new scenario, you have to first create the original scenario. So your second scenario would again have the changing values are from B8 to B12, This time it is 0.1, 0.2, 0.25, 0.2, 55, 75, and 0.25. So now I have two scenarios. If I want to show a scenario, I'm going to click on, again, what if analysis, scenario manager. And if I want to show the second one, I will click on show. Now you see the values change. And of course, the weighted scores also change. And my column chart will also change. So now Metcalfe is actually the best option under the current weight that I have. Now for me, to compare the two, I will first have to name these cells: rent, location, parking, curb, and traffic. So instead of it being called B8, I'm going to call it rent. And hit enter. And I will call the B9. Remember, you're not changing the content, you're changing the name of the cell, the reference itself. Make sure that you hit enter, otherwise it doesn't change the name. You cannot leave space. That's why it was giving me an error. So curb appeal and traffic. Same thing, you want to name this particular cell Grand Avenue. Cal and Sharon. Oops. Now see the mistake that I did. I tried like to change the content of the cell, and that's not. I should change the reference of the cell. Okay. Now I'm ready to do the summary report. So I'm going to click on what if analysis. I will go under scenario manager. I want to get the summary. And it asks me what the report type is a scenario summary. What is your result cell? They are in D13 and F13 and H13. So I want to compare all three under the different weights. So now see, you have rent, location, parking, curb appeal, and it seems like the last one did not change, but you have them for all. So all I need to do is go back to the assignment and make sure that traffic, see here, it's A12, so I'm going to change it, or the B12, I'm going to change it to traffic. And then run the scenario manager one more time. And now it's perfect. It has the rent, the location, the parking, curb appeal, traffic, and it shows like first scenario, these are your weights, your second scenario, these are the weights. And if you want like a perfect one, you can highlight D and hit delete. So it doesn't show you that current. It only shows you the two scenarios and how they compare on O. Okay. We haven't covered chapter 7 yet, the break even. So that is the questions that you will need for 4, 5, and 6. From 1 to 4 is another review that I'll just like put on. Well, actually we have like 15 minutes, so I'm gonna post another review so you get to see things that I expect you to have already known from 204. So go ahead and download the MIS 204 Excel, because that's the part, that's their final. That's what I expect you to have already known from MIS 204. They're asking you to, again, do the documentation. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do 3. It says insert a table for range A1 to G361 in the sales data sheet, and name the table annual sales, and then sort the table by product group, then by sales. That's question number 3. Here is the sales data. I'm asked to have a table from 1 up until 361. So I highlight and I will hit Insert Table and I hit OK, and my table have headers. So, and they ask you to change the name of the table to annual sales. So instead of it table 1 at the top, you're going to change it to annual sales without leaving a space. And then they want you to sort the table by product group, then by sales. So first you can click on data and choose sort, and you want to sort by product group, and you want to add a new level, and then sort by sales. So when you look now at automotive 135, and they are sorted under the by the product group. So all of the automotive are appearing first. The product group are from A to Z. We want the sales to be largest to smallest. So you see now the largest sales appearing for 99,526 is before 99,258, and then the 98,000 and so on. You are asked to insert a new column. And you call it item number. And the item number should be $10.20 for automotive, $20.20 for electronics, $30.20 for gardening, and $40.20 for houseware, and $50.20 for sporting. And $50.20 for sporting. That takes care of this question. And then cell F2, they want you to calculate the projection of sales based on a 17% increase in current sales. use conditional formatting to color code cells above 80,000 in green fill and dark green text. So the projection is equal to the sales multiplied by 1.17. You are increasing it by 17%. So original sales plus increase of 17%, and that's why you are multiplying by 1.17. And as soon as you hit enter, it calculates it for every single cell in the table. Now you want to highlight that column and to do conditional formatting, which is under home, and you want to highlight cells that are greater than, I can't remember what was the value, but let's say 300,000. And you want them to be highlighted green fill with dark green text, and hit enter. So now we want to see if anything meets that requirement. No, so what was the actual value? Greater than 80,000. So again, I'm going to do the same thing again. So highlight G, use conditional formatting, highlight rule cells greater than, and it is 80,000. And I want to highlight them with green fill with dark green text. So now I have a large number of cells that are highlighted in green, dark green. And in every category, you will have some that are dark green. Now, number 5 asks you to enter an if statement to test if values in cell E2 is greater than or equal to values in cell J1. To insert the text met the objective, otherwise insert the text did not meet the objective. So I have in J1, it's actually K now, 75,000. So anything above 75,000, I wanted to say here, met the objective. Anything below should say did not meet the objective. So I'm going to write an if statement, and it is equal to if, open the parentheses, and I'm going to click on the sales greater than the K1, and K1 is fixed, so I have to fix it. So I have to put a $sign before and a $sign after, because every single cell in the table will be compared by just K1. If the sales are greater than K1, then I'm going to put a comma and then write met objectives between double quotes. Close the code, put another comma, and I will write now did not meet the objective, which means if it's not greater than K1, then write did not meet the objective. I forgot to close the code, so I'm going to close the code and close the parentheses for the if and hit enter. And now everything that is above the 75,000 will say met the objective, and then anything below 80,000 will say did not meet or below the 75,000 will say did not meet the objective. And we are not looking at the projection. Remember, we are looking at the sales. So people may look at this and say, okay, how come the 88,000 and the 89,000 or the 87,000 said did not meet the objective? We are actually looking at the sales, which is the 74,621. They want you to add a subtotal of sales for each product group, and name the sheet Q6. I'm not going to cover this because we are going to cover it in chapter 9. So all I need you to know, how do we do conditional formatting, how we do the if statement, how do I format specific cells in there. I don't know if we have a chart. The column chart is the same. I'm going to show you the car loan sheet because we have already taken amortization. Just like to show you another example of the amortization problem. So here I have 4 different scenarios: a car for 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, and 25,000, different annual interest rates and different years to pay the loan. I can pay the loan over 3 years, 5, 7, or 10. I need to find out my monthly payment. So again, monthly payment is equal to PMT, open the parentheses. First thing is the rate, that's an annual, so I have to divide it by 12. Next is the number of payments. Here it's years, it's not months. So I have to multiply by 12. And then the amount that I'm borrowing is a negative because it's not mine. And then I click on the present value. And I close the parentheses. Before I hit enter, I'm going to ask myself, where are my interest rates? They are in row number 6. So I'm going to fix the 6. I'll put a dollar sign before the 6. And then where are my terms or the years? They are in row number 7. So I'm going to fix the 7. Put a dollar sign before the 7. Where are my amounts that I'm borrowing? They are on row number 5. So I'm going to fix the 5. And now I hit enter. So if I buy a car for $10,000 with an interest rate of 8% over 3 years, I will have to pay every month $313. Now I can now copy that to the rest, and it will be perfect. If I pay $313 per month, what will be my total payment? Again, that's equal to your monthly payment multiplied by the number of years multiplied by 12, because every year you are paying 12 times. So if I borrow 10,000 over 3 years with an interest rate 8%, I end up paying 11,281. And remember, when you see the hashes, all you have to do is just double click at the edge so that it auto fits. If you borrow 25,000 over 10 years, you end paying $41,000. So that's all for the review. Make sure that you look at the 2 sheets, and if I were you, I would attempt to solve them myself. And then if you have questions, you can always look at the archive again. Now the exam is on campus on Thursday, and it will be from 1 to 2:15, and there is another one from 2:30 to 3:45, and a third from 4 until 5:15. So these are the 3 options. You need to choose one option and sign up under the discussion board. Any questions before we leave today? I know that there is only Chris, but Chris, do you have any questions? Okay. Okay, thank you very much for attending.